Alright, welcome back. Here is a look at my hood scoop so far. And I know it looks really rough, so you probably looks something more out of Star Wars. It is not close to being finished. As with everything I do, it's not quite there yet. Here's a look at the back side. I put a relief cut and bent that small detail over. I sanded it and then added a small bit of glue. That little piece right there I've had to add on, and I had some extra JB Weld when I was making some body filler for this guy right here. Still not done sanding it. You can see there's a little bit of a filler that needs to be done right in there, and I think there's some done in there. It needs to be probably in that corner too from what it looks like. But there's still more detail work that needs to be done. But before I get more detail oriented, I want to get the hood scoop on there. And so I just figured I'd run over you guys how I got this and my plans, okay? These side pieces I cut out, which you see here, which is part of the interior. That basically, I think in actuality went like this. Something like that. So that's where I got that, and this is going to get cut down, shaved down, and filed down, and then the front half will get built up and blended in on the front half of the car right there. Then I'll go back over it and I'll sand it again. That's about the third time I've sanded and filled the car. Each time I get done sanding it and I find new things once I put a new coat of primer on there. And that's the whole idea, you know, you just sand it where you think it's good, put a coat of primer on it, let it dry, find your imperfections, and then do it again until you're totally satisfied. I mean, it is what it is. So let me see if I can cut this down real quick, and then before the timer runs out on this camera, and we'll try and get it fitted on there. Before I do that, this piece right here actually belonged back here, or maybe it was like this. Something like that. Yeah, there was a piece that went back here that was attached in here. And I just simply cut it and trimmed it down and shaped it up roughly. Didn't measure anything out. I do most of this stuff by eye. And I just simply used a cutoff wheel. I shortened this up in its height and its length, obviously. And then next, I'm going to hit it with a sander. I'm going to clean it up and then get it to fit closer to the hood. So there it is, roughly sanded. It still sits too high up off the top of the car. Get my finger in the way. And then I'm probably going to have to heat this area up and bend it down, but this is going to get shaved down a lot more. But I'm not going to do any more with the rotary tool. In fact, I'm going to use my block of wood here. It's just a simple piece of 3/4 inch plywood, a piece of 80 grit on one side and 120 on the other side. I'm just going to simply sit here and rub it back and forth, making sure it sits level on both sides. And we'll see what happens. Now, in an effort to get the front part to sit down a little bit lower, I'm going to grab it with my fingers. I'm going to push down here and then work this back and forth that direction. That should create a slight angle. We're just going to sand it harder here and less back here. And that should eventually get the nose to drop down a little bit. Now, I think that's sitting about the height that I would like it. Boy, I like to get my finger right in the way of the camera lens, don't I? Push that back up against the hood line, like so. I'm going to have to apply some heat to get this to lay down more, and I'll probably have to do a little tiny bit of sanding right in this area because the hood actually has a little bit of a curve to it. Let's see what it looks like from the front. I think that will look pretty unique once it's all said and done, and then once this is heated up and bent over, then I'll use some filler to build it up any kind of gaps along this longer bullet shaped piece right here. And we'll round over all the edges. I'll add some extra JB weld on the inside corners to provide some strength and rigidity, and same on the inside here, because I don't want these parts to come apart for any reason. But for right now, they seem to be fairly durable. I don't know how durable it would be in an impact, but so far I think I like that. Looking pretty cool.